So, Frankie, Villa are back this weekend against Leicester City. How do you think that one's going to go?
Yeah, Leicester are in absolutely terrible form since the World Cup break ended. Sort of just before the World Cup, it felt like they were picking up form, and Maddison was in red hot form. I think they beat West Ham 2-0 away before the World Cup. And then since they've come back, I kind of expected them to just carry on as they were, like picking up the odd win here and there and just probably like Villa getting away from the sort of the relegation quagmire. But it's been the opposite, 4 losses in 5 away from home. They've been really poor. And Maddison's injury has probably been a real setback for them, but it's not a great sign, is it, that one player being injured can have such an impact on the team? It's kind of similar to where Villa were when we had Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Um, they are in trouble, Leicester. They need to get their form sorted quite quickly because there's no team who's like a million miles away from them at the moment, down at the bottom half of the table. And in the last game, 2-2 against Brighton, James Maddison came off the bench. So he's working his way back to fitness, you would say. And if he does play for Leicester at Villa Park, you'd think Boubacar Kamara will probably have the task, as he did against Southampton with James Ward-Prowse, to just hassle him, give him all the trouble in the world, stop him playing. And I think if you stop Maddison, it does feel a bit like you stop Leicester at the moment. But their formation against Brighton as well was a 4-4-2, which is, exactly what we're playing at the moment, a fluid 4-4-2. And you'd think Villa would be better set with that formation. It's something we've done quite a lot recently.
Mhm.
And it's 4-4-2 is not really a style I associate with Brendan Rodgers or Leicester. I think more 4-2-3-1. So maybe they had injuries, I don't know, or maybe they tried something different. And well, I guess it ended their losing streak with the draw with Brighton. So where do you think Villa should aim to? Do you think it's a game that Villa absolutely should win?
It's a game that we should look at as a game to secure 3 points from. As you said,
Mm-hmm.
Leicester have been very inconsistent to poor. It's something is not right there, whether it's tactical or an investment issue. I mean, there's been talk obviously about investment in the playing staff there not being as the fans would like it to be. I think the owners
Mm-hmm.
come out and admitted that they need to cut back on spending. So that is always a bit of slight worry if you're a fan, obviously,
Yeah.
and no doubt Brendan Rodgers is frustrated by the lack of activity. Although in the January they have made a couple of signings, not
Mm.
ones I'm particularly familiar with, but they have spent a bit of money this month to try and improve. So I'm sure a couple of those will feature against Villa in some capacity. So they're an unknown quantity to perhaps be a little bit sort of wary of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we seem to be from a Villa perspective, we're a much more settled side. I think Emery is sort of settled, particularly on a formation and there's personnel which he seems to be happy with. We seem to have a settled back four in terms of Moreno coming in and obviously Mings and Konsa and Ashley Young seems to be his preferred choice at right back. So we do have much more of a settled formation, which I think is beneficial fundamentally. You want to have a settled team if you can. We're at home, which should be an advantage for us. As you say, Leicester's away form isn't particularly great. And just looking at the Leicester squad generally, new signings aside, they just look a little bit toothless. I mean, Maddison is their best player by far, but he seems to
Yeah.
be recovering from that injury still. He's not, hit the heights that he can reach. And then up front, Vardy hasn't been in form for a while
It's
now.
weird
Ian
seeing him. Yeah.
Iheanacho's kind of in and out of the team.
Yeah.
Patson Daka's okay, but I think can be handled. He's not
Yeah.
a 20 goal a season striker by any stretch. So you kind of look at it and think if Maddison's not in form, who's going to be? Harvey Barnes is decent, but again, a little
Good
bit
play.
inconsistent. So, but who's going to provide him with the ammunition? And I think, as I said, with our settled back four and with arguably the best goalkeeper in the world in Martinez between the sticks, I don't think they're going to cause us too many problems. So, and especially if you look ahead to the two games after when we're playing Man City and Arsenal,
Yeah.
if you're Emery, you're probably looking at the Leicester game thinking, well, if we win that one, it gives us a little bit of a buffer in case we come unstuck against the two teams challenging for the title in the next two games. So yeah, I think we have to probably target that as a win. Beyond Man City and Arsenal is a whole heap of winnable games again, which will put us hopefully back on track. But then
you never know, City and
never
Arsenal.
Know. You never know. You never know. We've picked up some really good results in Emery against good teams. United and Spurs spring to mind, obviously. But so we should go into those games against Arsenal and City with a bit of confidence too. But certainly, yeah, you look at the Leicester game, you think that should be a game where we target 3 points for sure.
The only caveat I'd have is that I think Emery's first game was that 3-1 win against Manchester United at home. He ended the curse. Thank God. But the 3 home games we've had since the World Cup break, Liverpool, which we lost 2-1, I think it was, 3-1, 2-1, 3-1, so I've forgotten now. Wolves, we drew 1-1, and Leeds, who we beat 2-1. Now, what I would say about those games is that the first half in all 3 of them, Villa were really poor. Against Liverpool, we did create a lot of chances, in fairness, which Ollie Watkins didn't take. But Liverpool created a lot as well and could have themselves been 2-3-0 up. Wolves battered us in that first half. And again, we were lucky not to be more than 1-0 down. And then Leeds, though we were 1-0 up after the Bailey goal, again, they largely dominated that half. And we were pretty lucky not to concede, particularly with Martinez's incredible save from Jack Harrison. So I think what I'd like to see is that in all 3 of them games, Villa at halftime came out and were much better, right? Yeah. So Emery clearly made tactical tweaks, changed the players, and he just showed that he can change a game whilst it's in progress. But what I would like to see against Leicester, against a team who's really there for the taking, to be honest, their confidence can't be high, is that Villa have a full 90 where they're really at it. It's not one half bad, the other half good. It's go straight out there and play to a really high standard for 90 minutes and believe in themselves to just blow Leicester off the pitch. That's ultimately what I think I'd really like to see the Villa players do, for Emery to build a structure for Saturday against Leicester that will ultimately cause them a lot of problems. And I believe that he can and potentially will do that. But George, if you had to predict a score, get on your crystal ball, get all Mystic Meg like she used to be on the National Lottery. What does Mystic George say the score's going to be against Leicester?
Looking in the tea leaves, I'm seeing 2-0 for sure. I think 2-0. I think I'm hoping certainly that it'll be, as you say, slightly more comfortable. Hopefully Emery's learned a few lessons from the Wolves and Leeds games. Obviously they were the 2 home games as well.
Yeah.
So that's something we need to look at. As you say, although we won those games, we didn't look comfortable, and it would be nice to put a showing in for the fans at home at Villa Park that we can control a game, as you say. I mean, with Wolves, obviously they'd recently appointed Lopetegui. That's a local derby, so perhaps in that context, that was always going to be a bit of a challenging game. And Leeds, although they lack a bit of quality, you can't ever fault them for endeavour. They're a really hard-working side, so that was always going to be another kind of a tricky game as well. With Leicester, I don't really see how they can really mount much of a defence given our form and the players we have. So in that regard, I'll say 2-0.